there is in at one of those other towns that you mentioned.
Factor the total cost, Wendell.
Yeah, I know. And the problem we have is, even though I disagree with Tom that we haven't cut, we were pretty patient about, and I think the directive went out a long time ago to most of the department heads that you be pretty conservative here. So, you know, you say you can cut people, you can reduce wages. Well, we do comparability studies. We try to do everything we can to treat them fair. You know, I don't think they're at the top of the scale. I don't think they're at the bottom of the scale. But I think we try really hard to treat them fair. So then we have this, so how do we pay for those bills? All a budget is a direction for us to spend money, okay? If we don't have the money to spend, something in that budget isn't gonna happen. I don't know what it'll be, but there'll be something that won't happen. So we get the money to spend on that budget from sales tax or from property tax, and that's it. And when we have issues with the state, when they're not giving us the reason we passed the sales tax was, the real goal is at one point in time where we would have no property tax for city billing. But then all of a sudden they started reducing the items. I hate to tell you this, Ken, with their infinite wisdom down there, they started reducing what is taxed down there. At first it was everything, food and everything. And they said, well, you know, at a half-cent sales tax, it's a little money. I mean, you know, I don't know if people will notice that much about it. Maybe they will. But you have those two sources of revenue. Every year it seems like our sales tax is going down, down, down. We try, I mean, the general inflation rate for what cities are talking about, if you start looking at all the other towns in the Panhandle, they accelerated. We got towns that accelerated other ways. So only other option we have is to raise property tax. We didn't want to do that either. Sales tax going down. So somewhere we had to balance your budget. Somewhere we made some cuts. Somewhere we had to make some dramatic cuts. Because if we got a budget of $8 million and they said the inflation for the kind of things that we do was up to 6-8%, Scottsbluff or Gearing, I guess, balanced their budget by raising all the utility rates. And the extra money that is generated will go to the general fund. We didn't do that. So we're stuck. We're stuck.
Okay, then let me make a suggestion. You got to raise taxes. You're going to have to do whatever you got to do. I mean, nobody likes it, and I think we all understand where it's going. Okay, you guys are appear to be sensitive to the fact that this is going to negatively impact the people of this community. So that's fine. Okay, but when you sit back and you know that you've got to raise this revenue, then why don't you, as a council and as a city, come up with some kind of a moratorium in conjunction with this tax increase that says you're not going to buy any new capital equipment unless it's break fix. You got to repair something, you got to keep it going. Hold off on the new fire trucks. Hold off on the new schools.
Held off 20 years on that fire truck.
Whatever. We didn't need a 100-foot ladder truck, Wendell.
I'll defend the fire truck.
You can defend it all you want.
We do need the fire truck. There are a number of buildings in this community that if they started on fire, we need the ability to be able to go over the top of the building so that we can try to put the fire out without running our volunteer fire department, who I would say are probably the best anywhere. I'd put them up against any volunteer fire department in the state, and we're giving them the tools to be able to go in and fight a fire and do it safely. I'll defend the truck.
With all due respect, Dallin, the tallest building in this town is less than half the height of that truck's capacity.
Yeah, but it's the depth of the building. It's not the height.
With all due respect, okay, we didn't need this. We did not need to spend 1.3 or whatever $1 million on this truck. And it's got nothing, and I'm not taking anything away from the people of the volunteer fire department. There's only one building in this town, okay, that warrants that, and it was pushed by those people.
I'd say there's 3 or 4.
I respectfully
Half
disagree.
downtown.
And in the rural area, there's quite a few out at the old depot.
Yeah,
90,000.
we can agree to disagree on that.
Mike Palmer, this comment is more directed towards you. I am a member of the volunteer fire department, and if it saves my life, it's worth it. If it saves one person's life, it's worth it. I don't care how much it costs. How much do you put on a person's life?
Do we need a two-car garage for your fire truck?
You know what?
Did
Just
we?
answer my
I'm
question,
answering the
please.
question.
Answer my question.
I'm all for safety. I'm all for giving people the appropriate amount of
Well,
equipment.
that's not, I'm sitting back here and I'm getting mad, because that's not what I feel that you're saying. You're thinking if it's, don't, you know, if it only costs 5 people's lives, no big deal, not a big deal.
I'm not making that statement at all.
If it saves someone's life, it's worth it.
Well, a 250-foot
I'm
ladder
sorry.
truck would save a lot
That's-
more lives. The question is did we need a 100-foot truck?
Have you ever fought
Were
a
there
fire?
cheaper? It's neither here nor there.
No, it is.
I don't have to wear, no, I don't have to wear your shoes.
No.
Beyond the issue of the basic safety equipment, okay, did we need a 100-foot ladder truck to do this? Would something,
Have you ever
what
fought a
other
fire?
means?
Have you had to get over the fire to try to put it out? Have you? Or do you want to drag a hose through the building? I'm sorry, I disagree, and I don't like it. While I'm up here, I would ask you to pass these taxes. I'm sorry, I'm a little stirred up right now.
Okay.
But I agree with Bob. I think the lodging tax is a good thing. To me, it's bringing revenue in from not the city citizens at all. It's bringing people from out of town that's going to help pay for this. I agree. I want new streets too. No one wants to pay for it. That's, you know, I've talked to, I can't tell you how many people in this town, they all complain about the streets and the condition. But no one wants to pay for it. Not anyone. I mean, it takes money to replace them streets. I would ask you to pass the lodging tax, all the occupation taxes.
Okay. Any other discussion on the occupation tax? We're just on item A, occupational tax on hotels, motels, and lodging business.
Because I have a question for Gary. If it passes, is the Old Post Road project included? Are you going to hit us up for more?
No, I asked the council in a memo to them that I said if they did adopt that, or they adopt the restaurant tax, the one that we currently have on a volunteer basis, George, I'd ask that the revenue generated by any of those businesses there goes into that specific fund. It still meets the obligation of what they wanted to go for street repair, and we would get rid of the other volunteering thing that all of your businesses so graciously went together and said this is the right thing to do, and we want to do, and you have to. And we have not discussed this publicly, but we now have a commitment from Walmart as well to help with that project, and that will probably help that project happen possibly as early as spring. And so that's what I would ask the council to consider us doing, and I have in a memo to them.
I'm committed in that direction, George.
Okay, any other discussion on the occupation tax?